That's
Different world.
amazing. Yeah, for sure. I've noticed that myself. So great to have you on. Thank you very much for being my first guest, Brian. This is amazing.
Well, I appreciate it.
So let's go into some of the rants I wanted to talk about on today's show, which was the first thing I want to talk about is it possible? So I want to kind of talk about the Justin Fields era as it pertains to Matt Nagy. Okay, so I'm kind of questioning right now if Matt Nagy. So this is why I say I want to put the Matt Nagy era to bed for good. Okay, because I don't want to talk about this Matt Nagy era ever again. So I chose to unleash this podcast tonight, before the night before training camp starts, which happens to also be Walter Payton's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And wow. So this way we can get all this crap aired out about the Matt Nagy era, just be done with it, and then just there's been so much, talk over the past year, all the off season about Matt Nagy and blah blah blah, and we're all sick and tired of hearing about it, right? Including myself. So I just thought this would be a good time to just put that to bed, never speak about it again, just air out all of our grievances with it, put it to bed, be done with it. Okay. And this is kind of I thought this would be a very interesting play because I worry about copyright problems. So I decided instead of showing a video about this, I would play the audio and I would give the entire audience my bad lip reading version of Matt Nagy and his expressions and his emotions as he held the press conference that first said that Justin Fields was going to be the starter. And the reason why I'm using this as I'm gonna go into this diatribe, and this is going to be pretty funny, is because I believe. So, if everyone remembers, at some point in the last season, Hub Arkush came out and made a big stink about a big article about how George McCaskey went into Matt Nagy's office and he told him Justin Fields needs to be the starter. And right after that, it was actually Andy Dalton was healthy and ready to play again, and he said on a Monday press conference that yes, now he's ready and Dalton will be our starter. And then on Tuesday, Matt Nagy came out and had this like very strange press conference acknowledging or telling the world that now Justin Fields is the starter. A day after he said, no, now Andy Dalton is our starter again. And so because I didn't want to run into any copyright issues, I thought it would be fun to do a play on putting the audio stream to me doing a bad lip reading version of Matt Nagy with his expressions as that press conference went when he was talking about Justin Fields becoming his starter. So I'm going to move the mic a little bit over to my other speaker on my other computer, and I'm just going to do a little lip syncing along with this. So bear with me.
That now he has this opportunity.
With all that, this is not just the run-of-the-mill normal quarterback change. How do you feel about something that is really a massive shift for the franchise?
Right. No, I think that for all of us, you're right, because there's a lot of discussions that go into this, and I think that in the end, what you have to do is understand that. We knew when we drafted him that he was going to have to work hard to get to this point. We just didn't know when. And again, I can't be any more honest when I tell you what the plan was from the very beginning, was to have Andy come in here and be the starter and insulate him and teach him along with Nick, which is so awesome. It's so awesome to have that. And they were doing that this entire time. They're still doing it. But then when that happened to Andy, it did change the course of where we're at, because it forced him to play. And now you get to see him not in the preseason, right? But you get to see him play. And now we got to be able to say, okay, where is he with what he's doing as an NFL quarterback? Where is he? Do we feel comfortable with him? Like, that's a bunch of the other stuff behind the scenes, but obviously we do. And now we got to move forward with it. And you're right, it is a big decision, but we feel very good about it and look forward to it.
And because of the plan that you said that you had for.
Okay, so to avoid copyright issues, there's my play on his mannerisms and how he was speaking. And if you notice, there's a lot of uhs and ums and going on in that video. So what I want to bring to light is it possible that Matt Nagy really wanted Mac Jones, but Ryan Pace was trying to save his own job by drafting the quarterback that he thought was best to save his own job? And if so, I feel like ancient aliens right now saying that, and if so, is it possible that Matt Nagy just flat out didn't give the kid a chance from the beginning? Why in the hell would he put him out there in the Browns game with no protection, no play action passes, no rollouts, put him out there to get murdered, just absolutely murdered? Why would he do that to his... I have been going over this in my head for a long, long, long time. Since that happened, Brian, the day that game ended, I've been wondering, why in the hell was he just so incompetent? Or was it that he wanted Mac Jones and he was trying to prove a point to say, hey, this kid sucks. I wanted Mac Jones, and I'm going to show you the reasons why I wanted Mac Jones, because this kid can't handle it. Or is it just because he was literally so incompetent that he couldn't understand the concepts that it took to put his rookie quarterback out there to play his first game starting? What do you think?
I think.
Are you speechless? I'm sorry. You should.
No.
That was. I apologize if that was a little ridiculous.
No, not at all.
Mean, maybe this could be a segment. We'll do like a bad lip reading segment, since I don't want to copyright infringement.
You got three layers right there. One, he's kowtowing to his boss, which we all do at times. Two, the way it does seem from where he started and where he ended, incompetence is a good word to describe him. He wasn't ready at all. He just inherited a team in 2018 that was talented enough to win without, him really leading the way, and his incompetence didn't get in the way per se.
Right.
Now, I don't know who he wanted. And
I don't either, but it brings up a good question, right?
It's like, if you wanted Mac Jones, fine. Mac Jones, the jury's out. We've had a conversation about Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones right now, I think he's a solid quarterback. He's proven himself at Alabama. He got through, having to be led by Nick Saban, who's extremely difficult. I mean, that guy, he demands perfection.
Yeah,
and he just moved on to the next coach.
He kind of went from one to the other, right?
So he's in a very good system. Right. He's in a system that won't accept mistakes. Right. He's in a system where, like, one of the best examples was against the Bills when he threw one pass.
Right.
So
they ran the ball the entire game.
Now, granted, the wind, the cold. In fact, it's brilliant because they won the game.
That was brilliant. Yeah.
But it shows me that he's a manager. He's managing that team and that offense, and they'll build around him, and he just has to follow the system. Like in Alabama. I mean, we kind of had this talk. How many receivers got drafted? They're running backs. Their offensive line. The best offensive line was like number 5 or 7? I can't remember what number. Yeah. He was like top 10. So when you have those guys in front of you, you got the guy behind you, you're throwing to studs who are first-round draft picks. Mm-hmm. When you get to the NFL, you might have some of your weaknesses exposed per se. However, he's with a guy who won't allow that. those weaknesses. So he's not going to be the star quarterback. Justin Fields could be the star quarterback. Justin Fields could be the difference maker for the Bears. He has that ability. He showed it he probably should have been the starter at Georgia, but Georgia already had, a championship caliber quarterback.
Yeah, they were just going to give up on Jake Fromm right away.
Right. So, and then he went to Ohio State and dominated. So his first year,
he only went to Georgia because
he's from there.
accepted him, and he's from here, and everyone that's from Georgia wants to go to the Bulldogs.
Right.
So he thought himself as a legend if he went to Georgia and succeeded there, and went on to the NFL and succeeded. He would, even not at the NFL, he would have still been a legend. Everyone in Georgia just loves the Bulldogs, right?
Oh,
so even more than the Falcons.
And not rightfully so, but
my buddy said to me before, if you had the entire Falcons team walking down one side of the street and the entire Georgia Bulldogs team walking on the other side of the street, all the fans would flock to the other side of the street where the Bulldogs were.
Yeah, I believe it.
So that's how it is. I mean, they don't have it took a while for them to even have a college team or a professional team. And by then they were all just so enamored with, the Bulldogs. So I don't know. It just, if like to your point, Mac Jones went from a system that was Bill Belichick-like to another system that was Bill Belichick-like. He went from the college Bill Belichick to the NFL Bill Belichick, right?
Yeah, and it's funny because when we were talking about this, I looked up Alabama quarterbacks, and I want to say A.J. McCarron was the first Alabama quarterback to win a game in the NFL in 20 years. And I was like, holy
really?
cow, yeah, I saw a stat like that. I'm like, and then A.J. McCarron is barely holding on.
No.
So
I actually thought A.J. McCarron would have been a better pro than he was. I kind of liked him in Alabama.
I did too, because he used to give Nick Saban crap. Like he could mess with Nick Saban and get away with it. So I'm like, this guy's got some charisma. He's, but
to your point, like he was the first, if that's true,
I think it is.
Assuming you did your research on it, that if he was the first Alabama quarterback to win that many games, to win a game, is that what you're saying?
I think it was an Alabama quarterback in I think it was said 20 years. Now somebody can fact check me and prove me wrong. That's fine. But I was kind of interested in where these Alabama quarterbacks fall, just because, the program is incredible. They did have their downfall, but then Saban comes in and changed everything. So,
Saban went from LSU to the Dolphins to Bama.
Right.
And the only place he didn't succeed within those two was the Dolphins.
Right. And it seems like he's more of a college type coach, which is
for sure.
fine,
He knows how to handle the college players. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know, but again, I think Justin Fields hasn't gotten a fair chance yet. And a lot of this critiquing of Justin Fields there's a lot left to be seen. And I think you brought up a great point early on when we were discussing this, was just his throwing motion.
Yeah.
I think you hit on something, that if he can carry that over, especially into this year, in an offense that I think is conducive for him, he can be successful. People complain about the receivers, but the receivers, I think, in a good system, in a system that they will be given time to get open, I think they can flourish. They have a chance. So I'm thinking more glass half full right now.
So am I, because when you look at quarterbacks in the NFL, all the great ones seem to make their wide receivers. They seem to make their team better, right?
Yes.
All the great ones do. So you can look at, Rice and Montana. Did Montana make Rice or Rice make Montana? You could do that. But, you can also look at all the receivers that came out of Green Bay that Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre made that went somewhere else and didn't succeed, right? So there is the quarterback factor that comes in when you're talking about developing your receivers. So I think that when you talk about, as you said, Justin Fields' throwing motion being corrected, he had J2K, welcome in. He had a throwing motion that came back like here and kind of brought the ball back down before he brought it up. And then everything that I'm seeing now, he's more bringing the ball like this and just getting rid of it quick. And I think it all has to do with rhythm and timing of the offense as well, which obviously has nothing to do with the train wreck of the Matt Nagy era. So I think all of these things combined, you're looking at someone who's going to be, in my mind, a superstar in the NFL coming soon. This